in the field. However, I did work for a nonprofit group. Um, it was a group home for children in foster care who didn't have placement, so they came to us until they could find a placement for them. Um, I'll discuss the values of the organization first. The article we read discussed this being the goals and strategies of the organization. Our goal, specifically my goal, was to house children that were in the foster care system. Our strategy was to provide as much structure and safety to the children as possible. We made sure schooling was a priority, getting our clients into therapy and after school activities, as well as making sure their legal case was being handled. Dealt with caseworkers, social workers, lawyers, whoever we had to, doctors, therapists. The goals were great, and it was great for our working environment because everyone had a common theme. All the managers worked very well together. It united all the staff and the relief staff, not just managers. We stayed in really close contact with each other, with our social worker on staff, with our kids' parents, and then with our kids' team. Everything was well documented, and for the most part, I would say that day-to-day life was successful. Of course, there were hiccups, like there's always going to be, but everything ran really smoothly. The second element is the basic assumptions. And these are the things that we take that are unconscious, taken for granted beliefs. So I think an unconscious and taken for granted belief was that we were doing something that was amazing. We were taking care of these kids that needed a place to go, these poor children. I didn't even really think about that piece of it until I read the article. And when I was working there, I took care of all the belongings, the paperwork for intake and outtake for all the children coming into our facility because I worked as a manager in our temp home. And the kids would only stay there for a day or two, sometimes literally come in at 2 in the morning and just stay to get to school in the morning because there was some sort of disturbance at their house. And then they would either go into foster care if there was placement available or go to one of our long-term group homes. Thinking back, we all had a common cause, we all had a good cause, even the police officers and the inspectors involved. And it was necessary, and I was really happy to do it. I loved my job, I loved the kids there. I still try to keep in touch with some of them every now and then, the ones that are obviously over the age of 18. However, I will say that we were dealing with really real people, and we couldn't, we all just thought we were just making everything run like a well-oiled rig, but we were dealing with actual children, not even just adult clients that could have made their own choices. We were making all their choices back for them. And I feel like in our environment, it was strict and it was structured, which was great for them, but we could 100% have had more flexibility to reach the individual needs of each of our clients because everyone is different. And when you're seeing, I think there was upwards of like 50 to 60 kids on any given weekend, you're going to have a lot of different types of personalities and needs. And I feel like we kind of did a disservice in that way to many of our children, unfortunately. About 3 years after I resigned, actually, we were talking about strengths and weaknesses. Our values were our strength, but a weakness was the fact that we had those basic assumptions, and the facility shut down because it was no longer really meeting the needs of our clients on that fundamental level. Yeah, we were meeting their food and their schooling needs, but it really wasn't taking into account what our clients needed. And honestly, the inspectors from the state of Arizona could tell that. So it did end up getting shut down. The entire facility is actually still on hold. They have an open case pending against them to try to reopen. A lot of the staff who had been there for years, I heard of from a couple years after I left, obviously, that it just kind of fell apart. And I could see that when I was there. I mean, I can see that now when I was there that it was on its way down, but I couldn't tell that when I was in it. So I can kind of see the importance of having that really good structure within and then dealing with the issues as they come up because there are elements to an organization that can, even though if it's a great organization, can cause it to fall. And I personally will take that experience and now upon thinking about it and hopefully apply it to my later endeavors. Thank you.